Okay, we're going to learn a case study how one group make a multicultural church in that city. Well, it's not all successful, but at least they try to do something for God and for the people in that city. They try to bring all different group of people, black, white, Asian, Arab, Spanish, that concentrate in that city. And they try to invite them into one church. Well, it's not so easy, but at least they believe that a little church needs to welcome all nations, and everyone will have the same experience with one God, one family, one church. Now, it reminds me about 40 years ago in San Francisco when the big group of Southeast Asian refugees came to San Francisco. We have Vietnamese, we have Lao, we have Cambodian, and we have many other ethnic groups in San Francisco. So one of my professor, he is a professor of, you might call mission. So he asked a Southern Baptist church in San Francisco to sponsor a new project they call a kind of multicultural church. So they invite and help all the refugees and bring them to church. They have all kinds of Asian. They have Chinese, they have Korean, they have Vietnamese, they have Laos, they have Cambodia, they have Burmese, and many other groups. So they try to have all of them in one congregation for several months. After several months, people start dropping off. And they all wonder what happened. For the professor and his team or the student work so hard, visit family and try to be their friend to help them, and they keep dropping off. So they come talk with them. What happened? They say that, well, we don't understand English. We're struggling, try to make sense of what the service is all about. So now they found out that language is a big problem. They don't understand English. So now they say that, okay, we will have some some sound system for you. One of your leader can translate to your group, and you use headphone to listen to the sermon in your own language. So we think that by have translator for the Vietnamese, for the Chinese, for the Laotian, for the Cambodian, for the Burmese, it would solve the problem. After a few more months, problem happened again. They drop off again. So they ask, now you understand the sermon, why you don't come back? They say that we have problem with food because after the service, they have lunch and they don't like sandwich. They don't like all the American food. So now you can guess. They say, okay, you bring your own potluck, your own food that you like, so we can share. Well, it looked like it's going to work for a while. But after a while, they stop coming again. So they try again. What happened? They say, well, now you have your food. Now you have your language. Why are you not coming? They say that they don't feel comfortable. They sit among all different people, and everyone talk in their own languages, and everyone talk about their own business. That they feel that even they sit in the one church, but it's like 4 or 5 small groups, separate from one another. They don't mingle. They don't really join together. So now, if you were the pastor, how do you solve this problem? Food, we try. Language, we try. And all the thing that we try now come to the point that people still don't feel comfortable. They still separate in small sections, and they don't feel that in one church it will work. So you know what they decide. They say, okay, we allow you to have Sunday school in your own language, but service still come to sit together. Well, they think this is the final solution, but it doesn't work again. They feel that they need a different congregation. And they talk a lot, pray a lot. Finally, they decide that this might be the answer. So they separate the group into 4, 5 different groups. They have the Chinese group, they have the Cambodian group, they have the Vietnamese group, they have the Burmese group, they have the Laotian group. They're all separate out, but they share the same building, but different room. Now, everyone seems to be happy because they have their own group in their own congregation, eat their own food, sit with their own people, speak their own language. Well, that we talked about 40 years ago. You think that if it happened today, you think it could work? Well, the same problem will come back. But one bright spot that we found out is the problem is with the first generation, with the old people. We found that the young children is a lot more acceptable. They can mingle a lot better because they grew up in America. They come young, so they learn to be American. They understand English. They know how to eat American food, and they learn how to adjust pretty well. I don't mean that they don't have problem, but I just mean that they adjust a lot better than the grandparent generation, better than their father, mother generation by adjusting to the multicultural setting in American church. So we found out that the new group, we call them millennium, or the generation Y, generation Z, that just born not long ago. They adjust well. And we found out that if we try to work with multicultural churches, we might have to start with new generation, young people. It have a lot of chance of successful. Yeah, if you go back to the New Testament from the book of Acts, you see that the church, the first church is the multicultural church. They have Jew, they have Greek, they have Roman, they have Arab, they have all kind of Asian, sit in one congregation. But the book of Acts also record problem. So you see that even the early church, the first church, with the power of God, they still have problem. But they learn how to work it out. Problem will always be with us. Even in one culture, church, you also have problem. So now the problem might be different, but it all can work out some way, somehow. So the early church in the book of Acts, they appoint more leader from that group to help the apostle to work out the differences, to help with other work. So it looked like that they solved the problem along the way when it happened. So it means that you cannot stop the problem. You cannot prevent the problem, but we need to learn how to work with the problem and live with the problem. It's part of human being. It can be a good thing if we don't look in the bad side or the differences for a purpose. It's not problem. Now, I want you to look another way. Some leader say that in order to solve all the problem, everyone need to cast away their old past, their old culture, their old language, their old tradition, and adopt a new one. The mother country mean that the native, I mean that the host country, culture, language, tradition, food, so we can be one. You think that right? That is fair? Everyone need to eat hamburger, speak English, and talk in American way. I don't think that's going to solve the problem. They think that everything have to do the same thing. We can be one church. Now, I want you to think this way. Some way, somehow, we need to think, for example, public school. Our children, and even you, when you came to America, you need to join in the public school. You have to learn how to speak English, eat their food, and get along with everyone. How can we survive the American public school for many years? Well, you might say that I don't join because I'm old. Our children join them. Well, that might be. But when you join the church, the problem happens. Because we want a church that speak our language, eat our food, have our culture, and keep our tradition. And we need to build one church for that purpose, our own church. Well, we can talk more how to work out the differences, how to embrace and keep what we should keep. Now, one thing we need always have in our mind is God did not call us to keep our culture, but God called us to keep our faith, to share, and to join in the same faith. So now here in this article, we sum up some of the problems that we found out that stop us from working together. The first one is we try to ignore, avoid the problem. We pretend to be that there is no problem. And the second problem is we just concentrate too much on our own culture and don't care about other people's culture. And they say that number three is we are afraid of losing power. Well, some of us come from the culture that all equal power or seniority equal respect. But in the new culture, especially in America, it's not the case. Or we need to earn respect. And seniority doesn't represent all power. And a lot of instinct to survive, tied to win, tied to survive. And another one, they say that judgmental. We always think that we are better than other people. Lack of compassion, lack of discernment, inability to listen to others, and don't want to change. So you see that this is some basic thing that stop us from working together. So you see that if we learn from how Jesus make his disciple to be the one who's going to lead the whole world. Now, if you look at how Jesus built his church, or how he start from the Jewish group, you need to understand that when Jesus came, those times, the Jewish people feel that they are the only group of people that belong to God. The rest of the world is not. And they feel that they are special people of God. But Jesus come to break that thinking and let them know that the whole world belongs to God and everyone are children of God. And a lot of things happen, but God going to change that. Now, yes, the first group of apostles are all Jews to start with, but all those apostles will learn how to embrace and reach out to the whole world, to the Greek, to the Roman, to the Asian, to the Arab, and to many other cultures. But yes, it starts from the Jew because they are the people of God. But it's not because they're special, but because God have been chosen the ancestor first. But the blessing will go through the whole world. They are the one who going to bring the blessing to the whole world. And you see that when Jesus walked in this world in that 3.5 years that he worked with his disciple, he reached out to the Samaritan, to the Gentile, to the Roman, and many other group of people. Even he have just a short time. He said that, well, I have a short time. I need to prepare the Jew, prepare the apostle. But he still find time to reach out to the Gentile. And you see that some apostles feel that Jesus should not waste time with the Samaritan or the Gentile, but Jesus said that they need salvation too. And one day, the salvation will go to all of them too. And in his ministry, you see that Jesus will reach out to the Samaritan, to other group of people who come to ask for his help. For the regular Jew, they will deny that. They will never work with Gentile. And many things that you see from the Bible, Jesus will work out the differences, like when he go to see the Samaritan woman, and that break all the Jewish law. The Jew will never talk with Samaritan, and the Jewish man will never talk with women in public, only the woman in his own family. But in order to do that, Jesus wants to bring salvation to the whole tribe, the whole village, through that woman. And a lot of things happen to show us that Jesus cares about everyone. So this is many examples here that show us that Jesus is ready to help other people who need salvation. Okay, this is the sum of this chapter, how we're going to work out the differences and how we going to overcome the obstacle that stop us from working with other group of people. I want you to share your own personal experience, how you work out the differences, and how you get to reach out to other group of people. Okay, you have any experience to share or question to ask on this chapter? How to work with different group of people? What is the most difficult thing to do when you have to work with different culture? Some people say language, some people say food.
I think it's the language, Ajahn.
Yeah, it's always for the first generation, language always a big problem. But when we use English as a second language, well, we can understand each other a little bit better, but it's still not to the point that a lot of us feel comfortable. How you think that the first generation will die in the church, not in multicultural church? Mean that they will stick with the church until they die, or the church die. Yes, in the past, majority will end up that way. But now, if you look for your children or grandchildren generation, what will happen to them?
So for our children's generation, Ajahn, I think the language is not the problem for them. It is not a problem. I think something maybe a little bit related about the culture, Ajahn. Maybe that is still stick about the culture. If for third generation, I don't know, but the second generation, first generation, I believe still about the culture.
Yeah. There is no choice. Our children, grandchildren generation going to live here
Yep,
forever.
yep, they do.
So they need to find out how to survive here.
So what is the best way to survive, John?
Well, we can learn from the Chinese and the Korean. They have been here 200 years. And you see that I went to see many Chinese churches. They're already more than 100 years. And
Because they're strong culture.
they're on third, fourth generation. They still keep themselves Chinese, but they don't speak Chinese.
Yeah, probably.
And majority of them still Chinese, but they have mix of some other group of people. They use all English, but the culture still Chinese.
That is the culture, yeah.
Yeah, the culture is still there. They speak English, but the culture is still very Chinese. But you see, they mix with some other group, and some other group, many other Asians join them. And even some white, some Caucasian, some black join them too, Spanish too. But they speak only English. But they keep a lot of Chinese culture. So I think that's the best that our children generation can be. They can keep a lot of culture, but they use only English, and they can mix with many groups. A lot of Asian will feel comfortable because they feel more Asian, look alike.
John, I think what we learned today, it may not fit or may not be in our generation. We learn something that will in the future to come, that I think will work well or work better for our children's generation.
Yes, we need to learn, we need to know so we can help them now. We cannot wait until the time comes and they're not ready. I think we have many years to help them, to lay a good foundation for them. And even better if you can sit down with them and talk about the future, the possibility. I think that we talk with our children a lot of things about the future. And I think about the church, I think it's one of the good things to talk. Instead of let them try to find their own way when time comes. One of my daughter went to a Chinese church in Southern California. That church is almost 100 years old. And that church have more than almost 3,000 people, mostly Asian, and majority are Chinese descendant, but they mix with all kind of Asian, and they have white, they have black, they have Spanish, a little bit, but majority Asian, majority of Chinese. So a lot of people come from far away to join that group because they're very active and they do a lot of reach out to Asian people, especially. So that is something good because their parent generation support them. You see, the adult generation have a smaller group in Chinese worship, but the big group is the children in English is many times bigger than the Chinese group. The Chinese group is less than 100 people, but the English congregation for the children is maybe 400-500 people each Sunday. But the parent generation support their children.
So
So
do
that I could, yes, Hannah?
I'm sorry. Do they have one service or do they have multiple service at their church?
Multiple services.
Okay.
But I saw the senior pastor come to visit every congregation every week to pray, to do the Lord's Supper, or to do something. So the senior pastor come and join. Even he the senior pastor for the Chinese congregation, but he come to welcome them, have part in them a little bit every week, every congregation.
Where at Ajahn?
It's in Walnut in Southern California.
Oh,
In Southern California, there are many Chinese church. One of them is my brother-in-law, Pastor Mandarin Baptist Church. It's also more about 1,000 members too. And it runs the same thing. The mother church, the adult congregation in Chinese, it just allow 100. But the children congregation English have several hundred people. So that we can learn from them. And the success comes from the parent generation or grandparent generation that lay a good foundation. And they allow their children to have their own worship service and find their own pastor, but the church support. And the young pastor is so important. And they work together. So that might be something our children generation going to do. But first we need to make them see the necessity that they need to take part in church. So do you think that if you're going to support your children to build a new congregation inside your church, beside your own group, should you support them to reach out to other people outside of your church, especially more Asian? And the first thing is, if your children marry to other group, that might be the bridge to bring the family of or the in-law who are in different culture to join church. That might be the first step.
yeah. Right now, there is a few right now because the in-law, like the children's husband, wife from the other group, other race.
Yeah, but first you need to build a strong leadership among the young people to train them and make them become leader. If they don't get involved in leadership, there's no way you can build that congregation. Several months ago, I went to preach in the men young adult. And I see that they have some young leader there that want to reach out to young people. So that's a good start.
Yeah, John, in my church right now, I can see that the youth group, they have their leader. I can see that they're equal, like, they're pretty strong right now. I can see that. We have a hope. We have hope right now. I can
Yeah,
see.
that's good. That's good. So I see that most of you went to join the celebration or meeting with different church, especially to the Lao, your friend church. What you have learned from that gathering, what work, what will help build different church that come together, what work, what you think that can be used. You know that in American church, they don't do what you are doing. Most American church is one church by itself. They don't go out to join other church to celebrate anything. But we already start something that unique, mean that we go to other culture church to join with them, to celebrate with them, which American church don't do it.
Yeah, for example, like, the Friendship Baptist Church, we do have Maceo and Leo. They 1 year at least, they go to other group church, someone's church, at least 2-3 times, 3-4 times. Such as like last time, Ajahn, you went there, you preached in the evening. That Maceo, she's the one is she had a workshop, she teach, yeah.
Yeah, that's very good. So that still among mostly men people. So I want to see that you expand to different culture too, like to the Lao, to the Thai, to other group, different culture.
Yeah, like me, Ajahn, like me, I go around a lot. Even though Ajahn Kong Sai, Ajahn Poon, and I went Portland, some other church. Yeah.
Not that long. We went to we're going to go Ajahn Chut.
We're gonna go Ajahn Chut again. Farm said.
Yes, to the Thai.
Easy. Easy.
Oh, by the way, to say that I intend to ordain Kong Sai and Poon in August.
Oh. Officially ordering the international or local?
It's going to be international with,
Wow, okay.
with the Southern Baptist Convention.
Okay.
So in
Good,
fact,
good.
most of the church are our daughter church, and they used to come to our church 30-something years ago. And the church cannot ordain them because maybe the mother church don't feel want to.
Mm.
So we are the mother church that help them start their work, their group. I think that is our responsibility to ordain them.
Mm.
So from there, I can order KN, right?
Well, you have to start with your church. I
Yeah.
cannot do it without your church support. You see, Kong Sai and Poon Church want and they support. So if your church support and want, I can help you. But one problem too, the Southern Baptist don't ordain women. Okay, you have any question? If not, I will continue on another chapter. Let's see. Okay, chapter 14 will sum up what we learned for the whole semester. What is the best way to start a church that work with many cultures and survive? Why this chapter is about this? Well, to start a church with many cultures is a good idea. But the problem is the church won't survive long. Why? Because a lot of problems. You start a church in America with one culture, it's already difficult enough. But when you start a church with so many different cultures, different thinking idea, the chance to survive even less. They say that if you start a new church in America, and in 1 year, half of them will die. In 2 years, maybe another 20% die. And after 3 years, maybe 90% die. So it means that only 10% will survive the first 3 years. And the number will keep continue. By 10 years, maybe just one church survive. So the number is not so good. Now that is the church that speak one language, one culture is still very difficult. Now, if you try to start a church with different culture, different group of people, the chance even less and less. Because the problem multiply. So it needs a lot of work, a lot of help. Now, I talked with one group. They say that the church combine between two cultures. And for many years, it seemed to work. I say, what is the secret? They told me that because the white church is dying, they just have a few old people left. They cannot survive. But the Asian church that come to blend the building have a lot of young people. So the white congregation offer, why not we combine? So you don't need to rent anymore. Well, it's a good idea. So the Asian group decide to combine with the white church, and they share responsibility, share the building, and it looked like it worked because the American church just have a few old people left, and the young Asian have a lot of young people. And now you say this is successful? Well, in some sense, yes, because both need one another. The old congregation dying off and cannot take care of the building anymore with that few people. The young congregation don't have building, don't have land, but they have people to keep the church active and keep the congregation going on. So they say that they depend on one another. One have land, another have people. So they work out that way for many years. So this is one we might call interdependency. They depend on one another. They need one another to survive. Well, it's a good example. So now I have a few students who do this way because every year 5,000 American church die or close down because they're too old. They cannot run the church anymore. They don't have enough people to survive. They don't have enough income. Even they own all the building, maintenance, insurance, and all the expenses still too much for the few people to run. So some of my students combine their group with the old people group, and they depend on one another. And it looks like it works so far. So this is one model. And another way they say that if we try to make everyone who come to join different culture, make them leader, mean that you share leadership, you share responsibility, and everyone feel that they own the church, they are part of the congregation, not just come to depends on one group, but everyone share responsibility. So that might also work. But that model will be very difficult because the church, the group that own the facility or the building might feel that they have more to give. And the one who come to join might feel that, well, we still not really equally partner. So that depends on situation. Now, the next section talk about 5P that make the combination or the combined church work. What are they? So what are they that the 5P? First, people. They always say that we need to have enough people. And in our typical American church, you have less than 20 people who are really committed to work, to help, to sacrifice. We talk about the typical American church have less than 100 people. In that 100 people, you have less than 20 who really committed. Mean that they sacrifice, they help, they do everything. And in order to survive, you need at least 20% of your people. More churches will have just 5% of committed people. But you need to raise up. If you have enough 20% at least, you have a good chance to survive. And they say that you need to have at least 3 generations. Most American churches have just 1 generation, either young or either old. So they say that in order to have a future, you need to have at least 3 generations, mean that grandparent, parent generation, and children generation in the equal number. So this is a good mix, 3 generations. And the people who come from different groups care for one another. So the first ingredient that's going to make it work is you need to have enough people, enough committed people, and need 3 generations. And secondly, pray a lot. Nothing can replace that. Only God can make it work. You cannot do it yourself. Provision. Well, In typical American church, only a few percentage of people sacrifice up to 70% of church income. It means that the 90% give less than 20 to 30% of church income, but the 10% give up to 70 to 80% of church income. So if you change that number, make more people give more, the church will have a good chance to survive. Our partnership means that you have more active people who want to get involved in prayer meetings, Sunday school, visitation, cooking, cleaning. If you have more people who volunteer, you have a good chance. But if you ask anyone, nobody want to volunteer, nobody want to help, now you have big problem. Now present mean that you have people who always show up in all kind of activity. If all activity, not many people show up in your program, now we have problem. So this is the 5P that I say, people show up, people take part in work, and people, you have enough number of people, you pray a lot, you have enough reserve, mean that income saving, you have enough partnership, people take part, want to do, want to sacrifice, and present, they show up. This means that the regular people or people in community, that whenever you have any activity, they will show up. Now, the next section we ask ourselves, is our church have a chance to survive or not? Well, first they say that money. You have enough income to support all your project or your staff or not. If you never have enough income, now the chance of survival is very little. Money is a big thing too. Your staff need enough salary to survive. If they don't have enough income, they cannot stay with you long. So money is one that we cannot deny is important. You need to have enough income. Family, this means people. You have a chance to reach out and more people coming, or people always stay with you or not. If people leaving or dying off and you cannot get new people to replace the one that left or dead, now you have no chance. So money, people, and what else? Well, that are two main things. Let's see. Now we come to the last section, talk about one pastor experience. Well, a lot of pastors have a lot of experience about working in multicultural churches. And some might say it's successful, and some might say that it's a big failure. And what we have learned from them is sometimes they hope their work will be successful, but it turned out fail. And some of them never have hope that it will work, but it worked. So what that means? Everyone work hard, everyone pray a lot, but still the result still not the same thing. So it say that it's not one recipe that will work everywhere. You need to adjust all what you do to fit the need and depend on God all the time. Things that work in that church might never work in your church. Thing that doesn't work somewhere else might work with your group. So you need to try everything and hope and pray and wait for God. but you work hard, you pray hard, and expect the best from God. And that's what we learned from many pastors in the past, how they work, how they do it. Well, so what we learn from all those experience, you think that you can survive because you have enough income, you have enough people to keep going. Some might say that I don't have both. So what that mean for the near future? Well, even you don't have both, you still can survive for a while. It depends on a lot of situation. But if you want to grow, you need to have enough income, your church, and you need to have enough people to grow. Yes.
Còn
Where are you, Cao?
in Idaho, next view.
Idaho. You are in Idaho.
Yeah, I'm over here. I take a trip here to fishing.
Oh, so last time you in Virginia or somewhere,
Yeah, last time I over there.
and you come home.
I come home and then right now I take trip over here to fishing.
Wow, you really love driving so far.
Yeah. How are you, Chansawan?
Well, I'm busy since I came back from Thailand. I teach almost every day.
Oh,
And as I said, tomorrow I going to David Church. I go to teach 3 classes
oh,
in Sacramento.
okay. Is that a Zoom or you
Oh, I go there in person.
in person? Okay.
I think they call that is revival or something.
Okay.
So
Oh, okay.
if some of you can come, good. And as I say that, we're going to have a little ceremony for Kelly and for Farm and Cat for the graduation too.
Okay. Yeah, I'm over here, Idaho, and I be home tomorrow night, but I don't make it to the Sacramento.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm. So now go back to our question. Do you think how much money we need to have in saving? And how many people at least we need to have in order to grow our church?
John, I think to start, we probably don't need a lot of people, but you know, to be able to survive, we also need people, because most of the money come from people, and we don't have people, then even we have the money, you know, soon the money is going to be gone.
Well, a lot of things that we talk about is come from American perspective. You know that we get a lot of American pastor experience because they have been here a long time. And they know that this is how they need to survive or to grow their churches. But now we come from a different culture. And the thing that we need to survive might be different. And the thing that we need to grow our church might be different. The number might not be the same number. For example, in our Southern Baptist Convention, when they held young pastors to start the new church, they say that we support you 3 years. In 3 years, if you cannot survive and survive by yourself, support yourself, we're done with you. We cut off all support. And you're going to survive or die. 3 years. Now, how do you think about that philosophy? Support you 3 years. That's it. I know some convention like the Presbyterian Convention support 5 years. After 5 years, they cut off everything. Where that model come from? Well, the 3-year model will come from McDonald's franchise. McDonald's say that if the franchise cannot work it out, survive in 3 years, you have no hope. Better close down. But today, McDonald's have a different model. In the past, McDonald's start their own franchise themselves, like they have new branches. But today, they sell franchise, mean that the people who want to have McDonald's somewhere need to pay money to buy the franchise. And you take all the risk yourself. You pay for franchise, you pay for worker, you pay for products that you get from McDonald's, and McDonald's get cut % off from your income. And you have to buy everything from McDonald's. And you're going to survive or not, it depends on you now, not on McDonald's. How much money you have to get losing. How long you can survive, it depends on you now. So the headquarters is smarter. They don't want to invest anymore. And American churches adopt this idea. In the past, they support you 3 years, 5 years, but now a lot of conventions say that you're on your own. You need to raise funds. You need to raise support first. I don't know the business idea. You think it to work in church?
I think for the financial, maybe, but I believe that most churches that close, it's not because they cut the financial support, but because the people, they don't have enough people coming.
Now, another idea that I present early on, that they combine some churches together. You think that idea going to work? They combine 2, 3 small groups or 2, 3 dying church into one. You think that way going to work to make it stronger?
Again, I think that question it depends on what church they background or what church they come from. If they have different belief, different background a little bit, I think it would more struggle.
In American churches, all the convention combine the dying church that in the same city into one. But we found out that it doesn't help much. It's still dying. You might expand the death day a little bit longer, but or that 2, 3 that you combine them to death after that?
John, I kind of think that, I don't have much hope with old people. I mean, old believer. But if we can reach out to new believer and train them, it'll be easier and be better.
Yeah, the future is still on young, new people. We cannot hope much on old people because they die off anyway. And we need to concentrate on younger generation. Whatever we can invest on them, motivate them, or help them. That's one thing we need to do. But we know what we should do, but why we don't do it? Well, a lot of people will tell me they don't listen to us. We speak different things. Do you think that you can talk and work with young people like in their 20, 30? Since most of you are in your 50, 60. What makes them don't want to work with us, old people?
Again, to me, I experienced that sometimes our English, when we speak to young people, we don't know how to say the way that they like to hear.
Yeah, you're right. In fact, the young people have their own way of speaking. I heard that some of my friends have to relearn how to speak in order to preach to young generation. Have to change the words, the phrase, idiom, slang, in order to fit the new generation need.
Yeah, I think that's true because sometimes, even we talk to our own children with English language, and sometimes they still have to correct us, and we don't speak the way that they like, or even sometimes they feel embarrassed the way that we speak.
You know that I learned it firsthand when I went to Thailand. Wherever I go, people always say that, like, the security will call inside before they let me in. They say that Korean guy who can speak Thai come, or Japanese guy who can speak Thai very welcome. Well, I don't know, because I look different from Thai, or because my Thai is not the real modern Thai that they speak. They don't expect me to be a Thai. They call me a Japanese or Korean who can speak Thai. And even Thai people say that I don't use the modern Thai, mean that the Thai that they speak every day in Bangkok or in Thailand. Maybe because my Thai is far away from Thailand for so long. I don't catch up a new phrase, a new slang, a new way how they speak. I believe that if you went back to Laos and you speak Lao with people, people might say, where have you been for so long? Your Lao is not the same as their Laos. So language is something you use all the time. It's true, young people have their own way of speaking.
Ajahn, I think if we try to reach out to young generation, we should learn how to speak those slang
Yes.
language, gangster language.
Yeah, I think it's fair because when we are missionary to every group, we need to learn their culture, we need to learn their language. It's not your age that's the problem. It's your thinking. So if we can change what we think and accept the new thing for that group, I think we can work with anyone. We have to relearn a lot of things. Okay, you have anything else for this class? If not, this class will end up tonight. Okay, by the way, any one of you going to preach tonight in the second class? Okay, anyway, let's pray and I will give you a break. Dear God, we thank you for tonight, the last night for this semester. I lift up our students before you. Be with them and bless them until we can come back again next semester for new classes. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.